We are made for goodness, we are made for love, we are made for friendliness, we are made for togetherness, we are made for all the beautiful things that you and I know. A very good morning to one and all present here. I warmly welcome you all on behalf of the Student Development Cell and Ethiraj Students Union 2021-2022 for this webinar on the topic Breastfeeding, the Foundation for Life. I feel extremely honored in welcoming our chief guest for the day, Dr. Jayashree Jayakrishnan, lactation consultant, founder and director of Happy Mom. I take pleasure in welcoming our chairperson Trimati Chandra Devi Tanikachalam and the board of trustees. I welcome our beloved principal Dr. Trimati S. Kodai, Dr. D.B. Usharani, Vice Principal Aided, Dr. T. Usha Priya, Vice Principal Self-Supporting, heads of the departments, Dr. T. Punitavadi, Dean of Students Aided, Dr. Anusha Balasingh, Dean of Students Self-Supporting, dear teachers and my fellow Ethirajians. With all eagerness, may I now request our chief guest, Dr. Jayashree Jayakrishnan, to deliver the speech.
Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me for today's talk. I need to thank Ethiraj Student Development Cell, which had organized this talk along with Ethiraj Students Union 2021 to 2022 on breastfeeding, the foundation of life. I'm so glad to talk with all you young girls. Creating awareness at this point of time from this age of yours has benefited many when they come to the age of their child rearing time. So I'm so glad to be part of this. Thank you again to Ethiraj Students Union for inviting me. So going for today's topic, breastfeeding, the foundation of life. So to introduce myself, I'm Dr. Jayashree Jayakrishnan. I'm a clinical physiotherapist in women's health and a board certified lactation consultant. I own my organization Happy Mom, and we've been into this area of prenatal and postnatal women empowerment for the last 13 years. So going forward, as everyone knows, breastfeeding is one of the most effective ways to ensure child health and survival. It's not only for child health and survival, and it is one of the rights of the infant to get its right food. As right for education and for other rights, this is the infant right to get its food. So as a mother, the mother needs to be taught and told on what to do and how to do is the only thing from the society and from the medical system. We are trying to do it so. So it's very important to breastfeed the child within an hour of birth, because the first feed provides the most important immunoglobulins which the baby is going to get throughout the life, is going to get for the first 1 hour feed, and that 1 hour feed which actually stimulates for the next upcoming feeds and help the baby to get accustomed to the environment. So much beneficial factors are there for the first within 1 hour of feed after childbirth, and continue breastfeeding for 6 months. Exclusive breastfeeding. What that means? Exclusive breastfeeding means you're giving only breast milk and you're not giving any other foods like water or any other fluids. You're not exposing the baby to anything else other than the medication which has been prescribed by your physician. It's been giving only breast milk is said to be exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months of life, and continuing feeding for 2 years of age. That is, after 6 months you will be going with the complementary foods, the solid foods, and along with it breastfeeding for 2 years or beyond. It's not only 2 years, it had to go beyond 2 years also. So many times there's a thought prevailing that only for 6 months there's a nutrition there, after 6 months is not enough nutrition. Actually the breast milk is being designed and customized to the baby's need according to the baby is being brought up, the environment what the baby is being exposed to. According to that, the milk has the efficiency to dynamically blend itself according to the need of the baby. So it's not only the nutrition we are talking about, the immune factors plays a very key role. The babies tend to attain its most of its immune level at least by 3 to 5 years of age. So it's very important for these babies to be fed more than 2 years of age. And you can see there are children who could save the life for a year who been breastfeeding is about 800,000 children are being saved when they are being under breastfeeding. So what are the benefits as for the mother and baby? There are innumerable benefits for the baby, but doesn't stop with baby alone, goes for the mother also. So when we talk about the mother benefits, the first thing is they lose the pre-pregnancy weight. So whatever weight gain they have attained during the pregnancy period, they will shed those weight because they tend to burn so much of calories while they feeding. When they feed, the lot of blood loss, like they are losing blood from the body as milk, and they are bleeding, and all these things have been compensated with good nutritious food which helps them to be like healthy throughout the feeding duration. And while they have been feeding, the breast enrolls into a lot of changes. This is the only time the estrogen level is being level down throughout your life. This is only period the estrogen level is low. So when the breast is going through this kind of process, there will be shedding of tissues, and there will be coming up new cells which help the breast cells to be protected from the cancer cells in the future. That's why they say breastfeeding mothers are in lower risk of getting breast cancer. Another important factor is when they keep feeding, there's a hormone which helps the both mother and baby to get connected, and they start to get that sleeping pattern. There's a release of this hormone called oxytocin which reduces the stress in the mother. So while feeding, the both mother and baby seems to be very calm and helps in the bonding. The mother completely shows the love and understand each and every cue of the baby. Just by this holding and feeding, she understands each and everything of the baby signs. From the baby side, it completely relies on the mother for security and for comfort. For whatever fear I have my mother to rely on. That's why we say feeding for more than 2 years, the babies tend to gain that confidence and tend to be very independent and dignified in later period of life. It's not only on health wise, personality wise, babies are developed by breastfeeding. So it's so important to have a dignified individual, independent individual. Future means it's only through breastfeeding. For extended feeding for the lifetime for the baby helps the baby to develop that personality. And while feeding, the mother will have a chance of reducing her pregnancy. It doesn't mean she'll not get pregnant. There are chances of postponing her pregnancy be happening when she's been on exclusive breastfeeding. And for the baby, the benefits are innumerable, like say to they'll not get into like a very frequent hospitalization. They'll be protected from various infections, and even people who have a family history of asthma, these babies are being breastfed, their chances of getting into asthma issues are really less. And the IQ level, when we say IQ level, we don't measure in marks. We see in the way they handle the analytical thinking, problem solving skills, and handling the very most difficult situation, handling the stress in life are much better in these babies. That's what the studies have shown. And even babies who are being prone for allergies are being less being prone for allergies who are being breastfeeding. Whenever you go for a pediatrician checkup, the first question they ask is, are you still feeding the baby? Because they be very sure when this baby is in breastfeed, the level of recovery is much faster. Even though they fall sick anytime during the childhood days of within 1 or 3 years of age, the time they recover is much faster and quicker compared to babies who are not being breastfed. And this milk is so easily digestible, it prepares the gut for the future. At present, immunity is the main thing which we need to see. So immunity, we all rely on how our gut is so healthy. So preparing a good gut microbiome starts from breastfeeding, because the mother is going to pass over all the good bacteria to the baby. Whenever the baby is suckling, she is going to pass over the good bacteria, which helps the baby to develop a very healthy gut for the future days. So these babies are being protected from even metabolic or endocrine disorders in later in life. That's why they say breastfeeding babies are in lower chances of getting diabetes, and their lower chance of getting cardiac issues and all. So it's so important to have a healthy mother and baby. It's important to start with the breastfeeding. So how these changes happens in the breast? So the breast is a organ which keeps changing throughout the life of a woman. So from the time a baby is born, the mammary gland, we say, the ridge, kind of small ridge, would start from the axilla to the gluon region. This whole ridge goes through changes. At the time of puberty, you can see there's a change in the chest muscle. Your tissues are getting still more grown up, it's getting proliferated. At the time when you're pregnant, only the important stage of these tissues are going through a lot of proliferation, that is a lot of small branches starts to pop up, and from there they start to store fat cells. So these tissues needs to be supported throughout their lifetime, like with proper clothing which makes it to be supported, so that the tissue will be like will not go through lot of pain. For some people will have pain in the breast, tenderness in the breast. These things has to be checked with your OBGYN. And next thing is, when during your pregnancy, there's a lot of fat cell storage, there will be increase in breast size. The breast will be increased from your normal size what you had pre-pregnancy, because the body is preparing to store the fat cells for the post-delivery days, for the lactation period. So the breastfeeding stage starts from pregnancy onwards. It's not like just after delivery. Once I start my feeding my baby, only the milk will come, is not true. The lactation first stage starts during your pregnancy period itself. So it's important for the mother and the family members to understand that lactation period has started with certain signs like increase in breast size, the nipple and the dark area behind the nipple is getting darker, some kind of pimple kind of structures will start to appear, that we say a Montgomery glands, which gives a kind of lubricant for when the baby suck. It doesn't hurt the mother. It plays a role of a kind of a moisturizer, and also it gives a kind of fragrance for the baby to understand this is a mother. So it's been so beautifully designed for the baby to understand the mother with that odor, and at the same time with the color, the areola and the nipple will become still more darker during the pregnancy. So the vision for the baby will be only to the darker side of it. So it's so important to make the mother to understand what she's going through during the pregnancy is a base she's going to give for the post-delivery days. So immediately after delivery, once she put the baby onto the breast, the baby's oral bacteria, while they're sucking, they're going to have stimulate the mother in producing the milk. Once the baby starts to suckle, the hormone called prolactin is getting triggered. Automatically they have milk pockets in the breast. Can you see the milk pockets in the breast? So these milk pockets are being triggered, and automatically it's being pressed out, and so that milk can eject out. So for the milk to eject out, there's another hormone called oxytocin will play. So hormone will do its automatic work when the baby puts a mouth onto the breast, and at the same time when it has a mouth onto the breast, it's creating the own oral bacteria, which gives the mother to understand. So the baby needs, in this amount of protein is required, this amount of vitamins, minerals and carbohydrates carbohydrates are required, and at the same level what amount of immunity the mother should give to the baby, how much of antibodies and microbiomes the mother should give to the baby. It's been so mutually been understood between the mother and baby, and it's been customized according to the need of the baby. So in case if I'm bringing the baby to the hospital, I'm still feeding the baby, I'm protecting the baby still from the environment, because I'm going to take up all the antigens and I'm going to produce the antibodies through the breast milk. And as everyone know, blood only comes as milk. So as far as the baby is drinking, the blood has been keep on converted into milk. So it's not like I've gone low in milk supply, my milk is not sufficient, is not at all true. You need to have a proper consultation with your physician and OBGYN, so that to understand that you don't have any other clinical issues to get into that kind of a thought of low milk supply. All mothers are being efficient to breastfeed their babies. Only thing, you need a proper support and guidance. So these babies who've been feeding, who carry right amount of nutrition and bioactives and bacteria, will have a future development with good gut colonization. That is a very important thing at this point, where to build the immunity from all the diseases which the baby or the child encounters later in life. So feeding for the first hour of life is so important, because that's going to be do the base work on building the baby's first immunity. It's like giving a first vaccine. No one wants to skip out the vaccination, because we know how important it is. So it's so important to give that first vaccination, so it prepares and coats the baby's intestine with that milk, for which prepares the digestive system for the future feeds also. The more the baby started to give that skin to skin and more of first feed, it has a neural connectivity between the mother and baby. The mother also gets relaxed, gets more connected with the baby, and she gets the motherly feeling the more she handles and holds the baby. Just because she delivered doesn't mean they immediately get feeling of mother. Most mothers will say, I still don't feel I've delivered, because the baby is away, I'm still feeling, I had to hold my baby, I had to cuddle my baby. That bonding helps the mother to develop that motherly feeling, and that automatically stimulates her in production of breast milk. And this stimulation of production of breast milk will be like mutually get along with the required antibodies for the baby is being done from the mother's side. So this feeding within that 1 hour of birth helps the baby to protected from all the infectious diseases, and it protects the baby to survive later in life also. It protects from the baby to get into SIDS from various issues like allergies and infections, and all are being protected from the initial first 1 hour of feed. So it's so important for all mothers to be aware, and even the caretakers to be aware, that first 1 hour of feed should be helped either by the healthcare professionals or the birth companions who is accompanying the mother during the childbirth period. So the people who are not being exclusive breastfeeding been contributing to about 11.6% of mortality for children who are under 5 years of age. If you see, major complication for the babies within 5 years of age will be respiratory complication. They are being prone to pneumonia, bronchitis. There are many babies who are being prone to diarrhea, gastrointestinal disorders, and if they are being not into breastfeeding and they are into other alternative feed, there's a condition called NEC, where the intestine is getting infected. So all these things have been completely protected for babies who are into exclusive breastfeeding. The milk, it's not only giving food, it itself acts like a medicine. It itself acts like a solution which helps the baby to recover from its ailment what the baby is going through. So if you see the nature of the milk, no, if the mother is like feeding the baby, if the baby is sick, the color and the composition of the milk changes automatically compared to the time when the baby is healthy. So the body understands what the baby needs at that point of time. Based on that, the body itself will do the changes and gives the milk according to the baby needs. That's why we say if you have been feeding a 1.5 years old kid, in case if the baby falls sick, the baby will not be in a position to eat solid properly. But if you are in a breastfeeding, that gives a proper nutrition for that point of time when the baby is sick. It makes the baby to recover faster, and they'll be actually quicker in recovery also. Instead of having 1 week of recovery time, they recover within 1 or 2 days, and they're back to normal, and they start to have the solids back. So having this breastfeeding is not only for food, as I already mentioned. It's been like a medicine. You're going to have it all the time. So whenever the baby needs, even if the baby hurts, if the baby finds insecure, immediately put the baby onto the breast. The baby becomes calmed down, feels secured. At the same time, it gets the right amount of that immune factors, makes the baby to recover faster also. So always think you have a doctor in hand. It's only your breast milk which you have it in hand. So if you see the breastfeeding rates around the world, we see the most, it's Bangladesh seems to be heading compared to other nations. But if you see India, we are still lagging behind. A long way to go, being the world most populated country, second populated country. Still we have to work a lot in building up breastfeeding. But why is it so like that? Why we are not able to go with exclusive breastfeeding? Is there are a lot of thoughts, and it's being infused to us either by our people around us, or through sources whom we have known or seen, or our earlier experience where we have not been guided properly. So all these things has been passed over to other people in a negative way, which gives an impact that maybe I can't do it, it may not be sufficient. That kind of insecure feeling, or not being known to the exact knowledge of it, makes the mother to have a suspicion on herself on breastfeeding. So it's so important to support each and every woman in this breastfeeding journey. And I'm so happy that you are going to know all these things at this point of time itself, so that you know to claim your own rights. So last year in 2020, from India, this Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India, it's an NGO which has been running for last 29 years, along with HCL Foundation. They have done this state breastfeeding trends initiative. That is, they were finding how's the infant feeding rates in Tamil Nadu. If you see the rates, we are being there's a color coding of green, blue, yellow, and red, and we are in the range of blue, where our initiation, that is the first 1 hour, within 1 hour of birth, how many percent of mothers are breastfeeding means it's only 54%. We are still 50% lagging behind in starting this. Immediately after delivery, initiating of breastfeeding, it's 54 is there. And how many have been exclusively breastfeeding, that is 6 months only breast milk, how many percentage is 48 they are showing. And the amount of complementary food seems to be better than the earlier one, like it's showing to be 67.5%. So why there's a lag behind in this? The first thing is initiating of breastfeeding within 1 hour. The challenges is the proper support system from the medical side as well as from the caretaker side. So both of them should be equally aware on the rights of the mother to put the baby onto the skin immediately and initiating of the feeding. This has to be made as a protocol. So that's what we are done with the recommendation. As per government recommendation, all the baby should be given skin to skin. You have to feed the baby within 1 hour of birth, and this has to be documented. So once has been into documentation procedure as your other clinical observation, once this has been happening, this number will obviously will go in size. Actually, more from 54 we can very easily reach to 80%, nearly to 80 to 90% we can reach. Only thing, this needs to be getting aware among the caretaker, that is the mother who's going through the childbirth, and also her family members, and she needs to be accompanied with the birth companion who could help her out at that point in helping the baby to latch. And also the healthcare staffs, nurses, doctors and all should be encouraging the mother in going through it. So there's a thought is there, okay, in case of vaginal birth, yes, it's possible. What about a C-section? Even if it's a C-section, still you can put the baby onto the breast on the theater table itself. It still can be done. If the baby is stable, you can do it. There's no kind of rule that it should be separated and all. You can breastfeeding any mode of delivery within 1 hour of birth, it should be done. And many policies, when you see, it's been more favorable in the government sector compared to the private sector. So these rules and regulations should be even throughout. There shouldn't be any kind of disparity between the government and the private sector. So many of the guidelines and documentation, if you see, that will be more appropriate, we can see in the government sector. That's why the percentage seems to be higher. The number of scores are shown to be higher as per the data which they had found from the government sector. But the lot of program has to be implemented in the private sector. For instance, the 10 steps of successful breastfeeding, how the mother should be protected, how she should be guided during the stay in the hospital, what are the guidelines she should know before getting discharged, and how to monitor the baby when she is at home, and who are the health support systems she can take help from. And these healthcare professionals needs to undergo the training called the MA program, that is Mother's Absolute Affection Program. So this program is being implemented only in the government sector, not yet been to the private yet, and we are working on to it so that everyone gets the even power in getting this help and support through what. And there's something called BFHI, Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative. That is, the hospital doesn't promote any products other than breastfeeding unless it's been required for the baby under the prescription of the physician. Only the alternative feed is given, but otherwise it's not been promoted as a free samples, or not been infused to the mother on a regular basis. It's not been done. That was said to be Ims Act, Infant Milk Substitute Act, and where we tend to score really very low as 3, because this act has not been so much vigilant, and many people are not aware of it. It's not public. I'm talking about even the healthcare professional itself. Many people are not aware of this act, which is slowly coming into picture now. Many people are starting to look into it, and they're trying to get themselves more aware of this. So what this act meant to be, if you tend to see earlier days, there were like all these formula means powder milk, and all the bottles, the advertisements were coming, they were having baby pictures in those. But now you can't see anything of those sort, because this Ims Act plays a role in it. Okay, so I was talking the Ims Act. When we say about the Ims Act, they were like implying that you're not supposed to promote these formula or bottles, not even in the TV channels, and no discount should be announced for these products in the social media also, and in the chemist also, that is in the pharmacy also, you're not supposed to display where the person can immediately see it. These things should be avoided. And while talking to the mother also, you shouldn't say that you can use this bottle also, you can use this formula also. You are not supposed to disclose like that. And when our healthcare professionals we are talking, we are not supposed to get sponsors from these these pharmacists who are dealing with the formulas and bottles, and not those companies are supposed to sponsor our education activities. So much thing has to be done, and I could see there's a difference is happening, but lot more difference has to come for years together later. For that we need to have a joint knowledge from the medical as well as from the public. They also need to know when they get freebies whether to accept or not, why they are not supposed to accept, what is the indirect marketing has been playing in the role. These things has to be knowledge given to the public so that they know when to say no for it. So breastfeeding not only protects the normal thing, it also protects from the COVID. Now many studies have showed breast milk has that antibodies against COVID, and that's why they say even when the mother is COVID, she can breastfeed a baby. So the only guidelines the mother has to follow is she has to double mask herself, she has to wear a proper gloves, keep doing hand wash, and while feeding, make sure she doesn't cough, so that in case if she coughs, she has to clean it and again she has to feed. After feeding, she can give the baby to a person who's COVID negative, and they can take care of the baby at that point. But there's no thing that the mother shouldn't breastfeed at all. But in case if the mother is very ill, is not able to handle the baby, we can go with an option of express breast milk. That is, she can express the milk and give it to the baby. Otherwise, if still the mother is not able to give express breast milk also, you can go with another option of human milk bank. Now you have a human milk bank in all government hospitals around Tamil Nadu, so they can choose an option of human milk bank, and from there they can get the pasteurized milk and give to the baby. In that absence also, there's another option called wet nursing. What is wet nursing? Earlier generation and all, they used to nurse babies around inside the family itself. That is, the co-sister will feed the other co-sister's baby, the sister-in-law will be feeding. Like that, within the family they were doing wet nursing. In earlier, still more earlier age and all, they used to hire people like wet nurses, and they used to keep it and they nurse the baby. That was thing happening in the earlier years. I'm saying maybe on the 18s and all, they used to do like that. But down the line, it's been slowly getting lost, and at this point of time, wet nursing, only thing we have to see is the person who does wet nursing is medically stable and doesn't have any other infection. And in case if been wanting to do wet nursing, it's better to get a consent from the physician that they are medically fit to do it, and then they can continue with the wet nursing with the baby. In case if all these things you don't have any of all these options, only you can think of a alternative feed, but it's not the first option of going with an alternative feed. So it's not like breastfeeding and immediately alternate feed. Breastfeeding, you can go through all these options and then you can choose with an alternative feeding. So breastfeeding, how it has been protecting the environment. They say it's environmental friendly. It's supposed to protect the planet also. The main thing is when you buy one box of this formula, it contains about, I think, a price range of 600 to 800, like that. So just imagine the cost the family has to go through each time, and the packing process of that, and the chemicals involved in the packing and the processing of these chemicals, of course will have an impact on the environment. It's not been easily biodegradable, and also the amount of chemicals being let down to the environment, it's not been making it to be carbon neutral. So the food which we are going through is always going to go for a long time in our life. So it's so important to have an environment friendly food is only the breastfeeding, so that it protects the environment. It has no wastage. We are not going to waste, and there's no packing charges onto it. There's no heating onto it. We are not producing heat, and there's no processing materials are being used for this packing also. So that's why they say breastfeeding is not only for the health and benefit of the mother and baby, it also as an environment friendly, it should be followed. This year's theme is Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility. I actually love this year's theme because it's not been always oriented towards women. When we talk about breastfeeding, the immediate image comes as the mother and baby alone. Why can't a father be along with it? Why can't a brother or grandparents or grandfather and uncle? So why can't the other family members be a part of it? Why should be only the mother being told that about only breastfeeding is only your job? How can this responsibility can be shared? Because when it's being taken up by other family members, other people whom she interacts only, will make that mother to have a successful breastfeeding. It's not because of that woman, that mother only the baby is not getting a milk, she is not feeding. It's not mother's issue, it's a society, a community and family issues. So I like this year's theme of shared responsibility. As I already said, uh, breast milk plays a very important role in environmental factors, because it improves the quality of life, and also it actually helps the financial constraints what the family is going through. It helps at this point of COVID. The main thing is financial challenges, and financial challenges is not only by getting the formula containers, but the amount of sickness the baby is going to encounter later in life, the hospitalization, the doctor visits, everything is less when the baby is being breastfeeding. These babies come to hospital only for vaccination. Other than that, these babies are being able to handle all things only with the breast milk, because that itself acts as a medicine for the baby. And from the organization where the mother is working, from the employer side, there should be a lot of support in giving them that maternity benefits and giving them breastfeeding breaks and making them a surety. Most women know they find insecure on having this maternity leave and all. They find it, maybe if I get pregnant, I may not be able to go with the next level of my career. I'll maybe given a setback. I may not be having this job because of insecure feeling. Many women are being so scared to go through pregnancy and breastfeeding. But actually, by law, it's all been protected. A mother should get her rights when she is pregnant or breastfeeding, or when she is on maternity leave. Also, she should get her designation what she has to get, and she has to get a promotion, and there's no law that she should be fired and all. So it's been legally protected. Only thing, you girls have to be aware of it, on the laws, Indian laws, and how they are protecting with the breastfeeding. And as a society, I think we also should support the women in telling you can come back and we are here to support you. That acts more in human thoughts more than these laws. It should be by humanity, it should come, not by laws alone, I feel. And how interpersonal levels play a role in feeding. Earlier days, I still remember when we see some other women feeding, the small girls try to depict themselves like they are also feeding a baby with the baby doll. So this is how we are inculcating those ideas with these breastfeeding thing for the girls from the young age onwards. But down the line, no, because of nuclear families, or it's only one girl, they're not being so much into other family functions, or not being into joint family system. They're not used to holding the baby or lifting the baby. They don't know how to take care of the baby. But immediately once they get pregnant and become a mother, they find everything to be so much like I'm not sure what to do. Even though I'm very good in my career, I'm in a very good position in my career, but when it comes to mother, as a mother, I find it to be, I don't find a schedule, I don't find a protocol. Yes, that's the thing I tend to see in everyday challenges, I feel. I tell all mothers, see, when you become a mother, designation and your career doesn't come along. It's only your mother feeling, the way you get along with the baby comes along. So it's more of bonding and interacting, the confidence with they gain with themselves. So that confidence comes only with the support people around them saying you're doing good, you're doing great. Another thing is, when they are being informed about all these things, they find it to be confident. But when they are not being informed on what to expect after delivery, how will be the days after delivery, how the baby will interact, when is the time that you should consult a physician, when is the time you need to consult the baby at home itself. So these things, when they are being informed, it's easier for the mother. But when you talk about breastfeeding, there's no proper schedule or time to be given. Feed on demand, that's the only thing we say. Whenever the baby asks, you should feed. But this comes like a shock for a mother who's been very punctual in following her timeline, her planning system doesn't fit in the feeding, because it comes erratic. Most babies are night waking and day sleeping babies, but it's been very difficult for the mother to understand whether the baby is it's done with the feeding, or baby needs more milk, like that. That confusion itself makes them doubtful to think that they produce proper milk supply. They obviously think to a source, maybe I'm not doing properly, I should get something else. But that's a point where the people around her and even the social media, everything plays around telling you're doing good, you're doing great, only just see for the urination, see for the weight, and if these things are going good, nothing to worry. The baby needs more of your warmth and comfort. That's why the baby is rooting towards you. So these mothers need constant support. That's what we found out. They were needing of constant support. It's not getting finished only with teaching them on how to hold and feed alone. They need constant support of each and every doubt which comes to their mind. Everything will be doubtful for them. Why the skin is like this, why the baby is looking like this, why the baby is opening the mouth, why the baby is yawning now, why the baby is doing hiccups now. So everything will be doubtful. When each and everything has been answered, they find it confident, and for that they need someone to do that. So for that reason only we have developed a support system in the hospitals itself, like WhatsApp support groups as we have formed, so that they get authenticated guidance and supervision from the experts. So, and also from the fellow mothers who are gone through the journey, telling it's okay, don't worry, I also went through that. It gives them the confidence to go through that journey. And personally, as I already said, it benefits both mother and baby in many ways. It's only thing the mother, even though she knows the benefit of breastfeeding also, the real practical challenges in implementing it is only the confidence what the people around her has to give is playing a major role in continuing of breastfeeding. So I already mentioned about the laws. So as per the Indian law, the Maternity Benefit Act has given that employers should give nursing breaks, that is the feeding time for the mothers who are feeding, so that she can either feed the baby or express the breast milk. So how to feed the baby? They can have attendants to come and bring the baby, feed and go back, or they can have crutches. That is, even if a company has 10 employees or more than 10 employees, they should have a facility where they can have a crutch facility. And the nursing breaks has to be paid. It's not like if you're going for a nursing break, it should be a pay cut. No, they should be paid bill. And until the child reaches 15 months of age, this has been applicable. So please be aware of these acts, and I think these acts will be regularly being upgraded. So you have to be be updated with this act, because this will be a very important one for you in your career path, so that you can plan and take your maternity leaves, and you can know how to use it in your maternity time on your pregnancy period. So don't think that oh my god, I can't go to work, I can't concentrate on my career. No, there are laws which have been protected, and there are companies who've been very cautiously following these laws also. Some companies are not aware of it, where you can also go and give that information to their HR, where they'll understand, and they do that also, because we have given some letters to the HR saying the mother is still feeding, she needs to be under the maternity leave, and they understand and they give it. As for now 6 months maternity leave has been made mandatory for all companies, and for government employees they made it like 9 months. So the government is doing the best in giving the protection on breastfeeding for the mothers. Coming for the Ims Act, as I already told you, it's a act against us feeding bottles, infant foods. In order to protect and promote breastfeeding, they made this act, and it's been very strictly followed. Only thing, we have to be vigilant, and we have to report in case of violence. They can report it to the this Ims Act, and they also can report to BPNI, Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India, where they also be as a person who keeps monitoring on the policies. So apart from this maternity benefit, there's something called Lakshya guidelines. Lakshya guidelines is giving you a respectful maternity care, labor care. That is, at the time of labor, what the mother can take from the hospital healthcare system, only these rights. So she should be given the respect at the time of labor. She should be listen to what she is asking, and she can accompany it with the birth companion of her choice, and she can deliver to the position what she wants, not the usual routine delivery position, and she can have the baby immediately after delivery. She can breastfeed within 1 hour of birth. So these guidelines are being given by central government, and it has to be followed by all organization, disregards to whether it's a government institution or private institution. Every maternity institution has to follow these guidelines. Only thing is, you need to know what you are being encountered for this right. So if you know the rights, you can ask to them that have been eligible to get all these things, please provide all those things. Once you tell this, of course no one can deny it. It's by law, they should give the protection what the mother needs to. So please girls, you have lot of time to go through all these things, get to know your rights and ask your rights. Don't be scared to get to your rights, because if you ask and you change the scenario, automatically system will come in place. Even though we have a system, still it's not getting streamlined, because the amount of people asking questions is not so high. So you going to be a change maker for the later years to come. So try to get your rights by asking your rights, and make your family members and people who are helping you for your pregnancy and childbirth also need to know what your rights, because sometimes even though mother knows it, she'll not be in a state to ask. Maybe she must be very tired after delivery, she should have been forgotten. So only the birth companion whom she is taking at the time of labor will be a major help in reinforcing what they want and how they needs to be helped, how they have to be guided. I'm not sure on how to do it, I need this help, how I need to see to it once I go back home. All this help they can get from the institution where they are delivering. And coming for the social media, now it's more than our family members and people next to our house. Social media keep a very major role in all our activities, not only the breastfeeding. In everything we tend to check with the social media to see whether we're able to do it right. Any doubtful things also we check into it. It becomes as a part of our life. So we can't say don't see it, deny it. No, I can't say that it became part of it. Only thing is, you have to be very vigilant in choosing what kind of media you're choosing, who's the proprietor of it, what organization, who they are. You have to see to this, and you have to listen to it. Because once I was being called for the YouTube channel for a video. Once I've been started to give a talk, I didn't know that these videos will be like taken for advertisements intermittently in my talk. But after giving the talk, after seeing my video, then I understood while we are giving a talk itself, you get advertisements, which has been like not towards breastfeeding. It will be a bottle company will be advertising, a pump company will be advertising. It is all against Ims Act. So being in this field itself, it's so difficult to see each and everything, each aspect. Once we see, only we start to explore, oh my god, this is not ethical, it's not a legal practice. So being an ethical, legal, professional practice is so difficult in current world, because you don't know how the marketing sector is working. People who are in the marketing, they know the different ways of promoting the products. Either it can be directly or through indirect ways it's been promoted. So even if you see any YouTube videos, no, it needs to be seen how, who's talking, how the talk is being sponsored, and when the talk is been happening, there's some advertisement which comes intermittently, which is not really related to that topic, but still it pops out, makes it like for people who are not sure of it, no, they think maybe the person who's talking is being supporting this product. So many things are interlinked. So we need to be very careful in this world, and where we are talking, what we are talking, how we are putting forward things, because slight change of words also, it's been interpreted in a different manner. So it needs to be so vigilant in putting each and everything forward. So for you now, you have lot of informations everywhere, but only thing is, you have to choose the right platform in reading and knowing. It's not like all information what you go through is completely right. because most of the information, if we see, there are like 70% right and 30% is not right, and this 30% will be either of this self experience they are trying to put it forward, or it can be the things which they have heard from others they are putting forward. But it doesn't mean that whole content is completely right, because certain evidences and science has been always evolving. It's always evolving, it's not standard. If you ask your mother and grandmother, they say we've been feeding only for 4 months and later on we were switching on to solid. But now the science have shown that 6 months exclusivity only have shown more benefit compared to 4 months. So things have been changing. So when these changes are there, we also needs to be updated with it. But with that other thought, who have done that kind of practice, which that is being portrayed in a video or an information source, people who are reading it may think, oh, okay, fine, this is right, maybe like that kind of idea has been provoking in your mind also. So please be vigilant in going through the social media. So in spite of so much of benefits in breastfeeding for mother and baby, still there's a lot of fluctuations in accomplishing exclusive breastfeeding. We are still 50% lagging behind. We have to catch up. So what is the major things is the healthcare system, which has been more into medicalized birth. So medicalized birth, there are various reasons for medicalized birth, like for C-section insane, even for normal delivery. It's not the same old natural way of birthing is happening. It's more of infusion of medicines is happening at the time of birth. It's all the change of the medical care, more of insurance coming into play, reimbursements coming into play, and the type of deliveries we tend to choose, and the type of knowledge we have in choosing the birthing. So we've been working with pregnant mothers and telling the idea of natural birthing and how important it is, why they should go through that process, the amount of neural connectivity which happens during natural birthing, which may reduce when they go with the other mode of birthing. So that's so important for the mother and her family members to know the right of natural birthing. And from the healthcare professionals also, they need to give the choice for the mother to choose the birth of her option. So it should be an informed decision making instead of saying this is what it is. So that Lakshya guidelines actually helps the mothers to know the rights and take the rights to her need. So it's not only done with that, and after delivery also the health professionals has to keep reinforcing from their part how important to continue breastfeeding, because from that point of hospital, if something is being given, it's been taken for granted as oh, it's been given in the hospital itself, so we can do it at home. But for what reason it's given, why it is given, when you should stop, we should be like conversed with you. And unless you ask questions, the answers you get may be getting stopped half the way. So the more you ask why, what, how, everything, no, you get your complete answers. That's why I tend to ask my clients going through the antenatal classes also. Don't just listen just because I'm talking. Even this talk, I prefer it to be live, where I could have taken more questions from you. But still, this is recorded. I'm putting some other information sources also, so that you can go through those information sources, get to more knowledge of it. Just by one information, it doesn't mean everything is done. It's been happening all around, and you need to know more other information related to it. As I already said, the feeding means it's not only direct breastfeeding alone. It's been correlated with indirect things which have been playing a role in affecting the mother to go through that breastfeeding process, because she's been always given the doubt like this will not be enough, it will not be enough, like that. But it's been completely designed, and the body knows how much to give. That reinforcement has to come from the healthcare side as well as from the people around her, not only her family, friends, social media, society, these TV channels, all your YouTube channels keep on portraying the same information. Automatically the reinforcement happens. And also, as I said, there's a lot of indirect promotions of other products, breastfeeding alternative products are being promoted with the discounts makes the mother to tend to get the purchase. That's where the code Ims Act comes there and plays a role in doing campaign and giving awareness programs. I could see a mass increase in awareness programs from 2009, from when I started. The awareness level has gone really high. Not required that I have to say the importance of breastfeeding to the mother or the family members. The only thing which I have to do is I have to help them out in person, how to hold the baby, how to feed the baby, and that mother needs a constant support along with the family members, because the support system now became very small. It's only the husband, wife, and her mother or mother-in-law or a father-in-law. Only the family became very small. So the core help system which they get it within the family also is getting very challenging, because lot of physical work also is being encoded, and family people who are aged, they find it very difficult to do that help to that mother. So on that point she needs to rely on another person. So there need to be a proper planning has to be done, where she need to be told how to plan along with the partner. They have to sit and plan who will be the person helping her out after delivery. So this proper planning help the mother and also her partner to get along with the breastfeeding with a great success. Because now I think in this time of COVID, allowing a third person is again very challenging because of risk of infection. So we have to make sure that we all are vaccinated, so that at least in future days to come we are all being protected, and we can go ahead without COVID for years to come also. So please get vaccinated. In that way you've been protected. So in the workplace also, the mothers needs to be informed about her feeding breaks and the feeding intervals, the maternity leave. Everything also should be played. But in case if the mother is not known for it, she may think that she should stop feeding, or she should start alternative feeding and alternative methods, which plays and hindering factors for the mother to continue breastfeeding. So these are the help sources. BPNI, Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India, has been here for last 29 years, and they've been helping in making policies, and they've been a technical partner in MA program, and they have created their own breastfeeding counselors to help them out, the mothers who are in need. And this from IIT Bombay, Mother and Child Nutrition Helpline. They have created this 7 languages free toll-free helpline number about the nutrition doubts and also about feeding queries. They keep following up with the mother whether they have still more doubts to clear it up. They do it for free of cost. And it's my organization Happy Mom, which has been here for last 13 years, and we are trying to help out the mothers who are in need of feeding issues, and also we are training people who wants to help the mothers in feeding. So you can go through these websites so that you get to know more informations, get to know how to get the proper guidance also. So overall I want to say preparation is the only thing which gives you a proper result. So preparations doesn't mean you have to prepare only once you are pregnant. The preparation starts way ahead of your pregnancy. From right now, the food what you eat, that plays a very key role in making a good microbiomes in your gut. So having a healthy non-junk foods doesn't mean that you're going to getting diverted into all kinds of processed packed foods. Please read the ingredients of the food what you're eating. That plays a very major role for the future days. Try to avoid all these packed processed food, and try to go with the fresh homemade foods that have an impact on your body for your later days with your metabolic to protect you from metabolic disorders, endocrine disorders. Food is a very important role, and exercises that has to be done on a regular basis. This is has to be as a part of your life. You have to keep doing it, and these exercises will make you fit in body and the mind also. You keep yourself so much fit that makes you to see things better. Clothing, this why I have mentioned clothing. So the wearing of these braziers, Yes, I already told you the breast tissues goes through lot of changes but needs to be properly supported. When there are braziers which are like padded braziers, underwire braziers, they tend to have a lot of tenderness. Sometimes tight wearing braziers, the blast straps, some people have had abscess because of tight braziers, some skin rashes have come. So wearing of those kind of braziers should be avoided. It should be a cotton and stretchable braziers. It shouldn't be like too tight for you, and at the same time you have to see that you don't wear these kinds of minimizers. There are breast minimizers which tend to change the shape of the breast. So wearing of a proper braziers makes a very key role in having a breast to be supported properly. Because of wearing padded and all these breast minimizers, the breast tissues are getting into damage. So please be aware of it. I'm not telling you to completely avoid. Once in a while, yes, you can, but not on a regular basis that you need to wear these kinds of padded or breast minimizers. And awareness, as you see, everything needs to be you need to be aware. So getting updated with the ongoing information is always important, and you need to know your rights on pregnancy or feeding, post delivery days. You need to know your rights. Going through those Lakshya guidelines and through the Maternity Benefit Act, you tend to be still more aware, and you can plan further very clearly on what you have to do, how to do it. It's very important to sit and plan with your family member, and so that you can get your proper support system as required for the future days to go. So preparation is key, very very important in life. And if it's being done from the prime source, and I think this is the right time for you to know about all these things, so that you be planned to do it so in a proper way. And thank you all for listening, and I'll be happy to answer you all. You can get connected with us through this Insta or through my website. I know there'll be a lot of queries coming up for your mind, and we are open to answer you all. And any time in future also, we are there to help you out. It's only thing you need a proper support and guidance, and hope you get all through it. And wishing you all a very happy breastfeeding week. Thank you.
Gratitude is not only the greatest of worshipes but the parent of all others. Distinguished members, teachers, and my dear fellow Ethragians, it's an honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on the special occasion. Let me begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to our esteemed Chief Guest, Dr. Jayashree Jayakrishnan, lactation consultant, founder and director of Happy Mom, for being here despite her busy schedule and giving this informative session. I express my sincere gratitude to our chairperson, Tirumati Chandra Devi Tanikachala, and the Board of Trustees for their constant support in all our endeavors. I express my heartfelt gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. S. Kodai, Vice Principals, Dr. D.B. Usharani Aided, and Dr. T. Usha Priya Self-Supporting for their constant support and motivation. I place on record a sincere thanks to all the heads of the departments and our support system, Dean of Students Aided, Dr. T. Punitavati, and Dean of Students Self-Supporting, Dr. Anusha Balasi, without whom this event would have not been possible. I thank our Union Advisory, Ms. Maureen Finney, for always being there for us and motivating us at all the times. I'd like to thank my fellow Union members, Niveta R., Santana Lakshmi B., Raga Surya K., Ashtini G., Sakti Shadana H., Aditi Surya Narayanan, and Akshaya S. for their hard work and dedication towards the event. I thank Mrs. Kavita, System Admin, for helping us in streaming this event successfully. Last but not the least, I thank you all for being a wonderful audience as always. Thank you.